And here we go. You've successfully made it through the first four steps of the writing process: pre writing, rough draft, first revision, and second revision. Now is when we get down to the real nitty gritty, the final edit. Now, with your second revision, you really did a pretty good job of not having many sentence problems. You've done a nice job of paragraphing. Punctuation wise, you did pretty well, okay? There are a few things in your final shot at this that we need to talk about. Make sure that you read what I have in the lesson also, because I really make the point that revision, working on your own writing, trying to make each piece of writing better is how you make yourself a better writer. So let me coach you into making yourself a better writer, okay? So, what do we do now that we have our second revision done and you've seen the comments, not comments, but corrections that I've made on them, as well as some comments on them, okay? Okay, there are a few important things that you do. First of all, I want you to count the number of words in each sentence that you've written, not in each line, but in each sentence, and make a list of those numbers, okay? So, if there's 13 words in the first sentence and 14 words in the second sentence and 22 words in the third sentence or whatever, make a list of those numbers. Just list them down in straight order for yourself. Okay, so count the number of words in each sentence and then list those numbers in a row. Now, in good writing, we have a variety in length of sentences. Okay. If you find that you have a number of sentences kind of in a row that are, say, 9 to 13 words, they're too close to all being the same, and the reader gets into a sing-songy frame of mind. Okay, so you kind of lose your reader if there's too many relatively short sentences like that in a row. On the other hand, if you have a bunch of sentences that have like 22 or 25 words in them, or somewhere in the 20s or more, in a row like that, it gets difficult for a reader to follow long sentence after long sentence after long sentence. So part of this final edit process is to work a variety of lengths into your sentences so that you have a few long sentences, a few short sentences, maybe some in between sentences, all kind of mixed in together rather than a bunch of the same length sentences in a row. And when I say a bunch, I mean, 4 or 5 sentences in a row that are approximately the same length. You need to work on the length of those sentences. Okay? So sentence variety is a big part of the editing process, and maybe it's the most difficult part. If you have a number of short sentences in a row, I gave you some information on how to put sentences together into compound sentences in the lesson for this week. So read that carefully. Now, there are other ways besides the two ways that I suggested, but that can make things easier for you. Okay? So sentence variety is really important. Something else you want to do here is look very carefully at the words that you have used. You do not want to be repeating words within an essay. Okay, significant words. Obviously, words like the and excuse me, and things like that. You have no choice but to repeat. But with what you did, excuse me. For instance, one person used the word room 8 or 9 times in her essay. You want to find alternatives for that. You want to go to a thesaurus and find words that mean the same. Or you want to find a different way to write the sentences so that you are not repeating words. Okay? So you should not be repeating words during the course of your essay, and especially close together. Okay? So go through there carefully. Look at your word usage. Make sure that you are not repeating words. Come up with synonyms for those words or different ways to write the sentence so that you are not being so repetitive. it gets kind of, the reader starts to turn off when he sees the same words over and over again. So by finding synonyms, you're actually increasing the depth of what you're saying for the reader. Okay, keep in mind what you're trying to do is to communicate as clearly as possible, which means get the idea from your head into the reader's head. Okay, so using various words that have similar meanings but maybe slightly different, those help the reader understand better what you're doing. So sentence variety and careful editing for word usage are important things. At this point also, you want to make sure that you're not starting sentences with there are, there is. Most of you took pretty much all of that out of your last one. But here, there are still a few places where you can do that. Make sure that your paragraphs are accomplishing what you want them to accomplish. Make sure that you have the paragraph structure that you're supposed to have. We talked about 5 paragraphs. Does it have to be 5? No, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 7. But make sure that you're breaking down. Make sure that you don't have more details than you need. You want details, and you've gotten very good at supplying details. But I don't think anybody really overkilled it with details. Look carefully at the flow. You want the whole thing to flow smoothly, okay? So you want your reader to be able to carefully follow what you're doing with a smooth flow, not creating any kind of choppy effect. Back to the sentence variety thing. If you have short sentence after short sentence after short sentence, you do create a choppy effect, number one. Number two, short sentence after short sentence after short sentence causes your reader to read more and more quickly. And in something as detailed as what you're writing now, you don't want your reader to write really quick or to read really quickly. Okay? So again, be careful with the sentence variety. So we're talking about sentence variety here. We're talking about using words correctly, choice of words. And again, we're talking about making sure you are communicating as absolutely well as you can communicate. I already said this, but I'll say it again and other times during the semester. You're the only one who can make you a better writer. This is when you make yourself a better writer, by looking carefully at the nitty-gritty of all of these things, revising very carefully, seeing how you could say things better and better and better. I make reference to Ernest Hemingway in the lesson. Make sure you read that, because there is a real lesson to knowing that one of the best writers in American history revised and revised and revised. He was never happy with his own writing. Okay? So keep up the good work. And what I'm saying on here, I'm not spelling out in print. So, if you need to watch this 2 or 3 times, that's okay. No problem. And then, as usual, we'll try to post by Friday. And have a good week. Questions, feel free to contact me. I'm always here for you. Okay? Thanks.